Hi, welcome back for another video. And this is in Forbes article that says 14 common misunderstandings about Ripple and XRP. Now, Forbes, right? Who reads Forbes? Forbes is targeting millionaires and billionaires and basically high net worth individuals and above. So the fact that they are publishing an article on common misunderstandings about Ripple and XRP clearly are signifying that, right? That few things, right? One is that there are a lot of interest in XRP. Well, after all, it is the third largest in terms of market cap today, right? And it has also been in the second place before overthrowing Ethereum. And who reads Forbes, right? Forbes is really read by high net worth individuals. So these the rich people, right? And basically they are tight on time. And they must have heard a lot of noise right out there that basically they are very strong opinions, right? Meaning either they are very, very strong ardent supporters of XRP, called XRP Army, XRP Nation. And also there's another group which is like, totally hate XRP. So there's very, very extreme group of people. And I think that's why this article, is well warranted to address all those noises, right? That really, and the fact that it is now listed in Coinbase, right? Of course, there are a lot of fiasco as well with that listing, but regardless, they have been listed, and that gives them much more visibility now. So definitely, no surprise that it also attracts more interest from the rich people, right? So this article is definitely timely. And I've read through it quickly, and it seems that it is, very spot on a lot of the points. So let's just quickly look at it. So, first point, he's saying XRP is not needed. Yeah, it's basically because he's saying X current, is already the global real-time gross settlement system, replacing SWIFT, right, which enables the fiat transfers already globally. So why then do you need XRP, right? But the thing is this, if two banks actually have a nostro agreements, that means if they already have agreements, and X current definitely can allow the transfers very quickly within seconds. But that means that both the banks need to hold all this a lot of money just to sit there and doing nothing, right? To make sure it's in custody to facilitate this kind of transfers. But if you hold XRP, then basically you don't need to do that, right? That basically then, because XRP is digital, right? You can instantly move digital very quickly, right? It doesn't, XRP that uses XRP will eliminate the need for tying up all these dollars sitting there, right? That you cannot touch. Because this is digital, it is very easy, right? I mean, literally it's just moving bits across the internet, right? So that's one debunked. Second, XRP is too volatile. The banks won't hold it, right? Now, the fact is that, right, they don't need to hold it for long, right? And if you are basically buying and selling and you only need to hold it for 4 seconds, because that's how long the transaction time is in terms of the X rapid transaction. If you only hold it for 4 seconds, then the volatility doesn't really matter to you, right? And that is the point here that they are making, yeah? Third, stablecoins are a better fit for cross-border payments. So, but the thing is that stable coins are actually backed by fiat, right? And fiat, similarly to stablecoins, require that intermediary party, requires a center that you trust, right? The fact about cryptocurrency, including XRP, is that you can do it with the trust, because it is all, you trust the maps, you trust the code, rather than you trust any central party. And that is why, right, stablecoins are not a better fit for cross-border payments, yeah? Moving on, number 4, there's no need for XRP when central banks issue their digital currencies. So same point with number 3, right? Central bank, if they issue their own digital currencies, again, you are trusting the central bank to do the right thing, that they won't inflate the amount of their digital currencies at will, which they have done with fiat money ever since the 2008 financial crisis, because they have not enough money to bail out the banks, that they're printing more and more money just to bail out the banks. And that actually have led to a lot of problems, key being, right, inflation. And the people who got the money first, who caused the problem, are the one who are being enriched first. And people like us who are down below at the food chain are the one who suffer. And that is why, right, XRP being not, you don't need to trust any central party. That is definitely more trustworthy because you're just trusting the code, right? So yes, moving on, number 5, another myth or debunk the not truth, right? XRP is not a real cryptocurrency, yeah? So here is basically saying cryptocurrency, just the key is you need encryption techniques to verify transaction. It has a decentralized system, no central issuing or regulating party. Now, all that is applying to XRP, right? Though the common the issue is that XRP, unlike Bitcoin, their consensus method is not through a proof of work or proof of stake, right? Rather, they just use a consensus mechanism, yeah? And there's no rewards for participants. So it's a different way of achieving consensus, but regardless, right, it is still encryption system, and you don't need to trust any central party, for controlling the supply of the cryptocurrency. 6 is probably the most biggest issues or criticism against XRP is that the ledger is not decentralized, right? Because why? Because there's claim that, right, the founders have basically a lot of the coins are basically with the founders, but then they're saying it is not really true, right? That because there's consensus, right, and it is all independent parties, they're not colluding to work with one another, right? So that's why, and it is in their best interest to actually make sure that they don't double spend, because they want to make sure that the system continue to work, right? So yeah. Number 7, the consensus mechanism makes forks easily possible, right? Now, the XRP ledger works as a peer-to-peer network of participating nodes. Each node trusts a number of validators, which it defines for itself. But the consistency of the network depends on the different servers choosing lists that have a high degree of overlap. So the first part is that of consensus agreeing which transactions to include in the upcoming ledger. The second part of the consensus is validation. Each validator validates the transactions independently, resulting in identifying hash of the ledger. This hash is used to compare the results amongst the validator, and if consensus is met, the winning version of the ledger is used. Disagreeing validators either completes a new correct ledger or retrieves it as needed, right? So the thing is this. In the worst case, yeah, less than 90% overlap could cause some participants to diverge from each other. If consensus is not met, it results in the network losing a few seconds in which it could have made forward progress, but it's extremely rare. In this case, the next consensus round is much less likely to fail because disagreements are resolved in the consensus process, and only remaining disagreements can cause a failure. Yeah. So next, number 8, XRP has a lot of hidden fees that is returned to Ripple. But actually, using the XRP ledger has a cost of fee, but in most cases, you decide for yourself how big the cost is. And not only that, the fee is not returned to a central authority or not paid to as a reward to validators, but it's burned, making XRP a deflationary currency. That means, right, it is basically the supply will continue to reduce, and initially that there will only ever be 100 million units, and now is already down to 99.99 million units, right? The supply is continue to reduce. Yeah. 9, Ripple created and it's the issuer of XRP. But no, not really. Because what happened was, in 2004, there was a developer named Ryan Fugger who developed a payment network, right, called Ripple Pay, to just facilitate payment among banks, right? Without banks, it's called peer-to-peer lending. Then in 2001, 3 persons, Arthur Britto, Jake McCallum, and David Schwartz, formed the team working on what we know today as the XRP ledger, yeah? And in August 12, Chris Larsen joined the team, and after this, they approached Brian Fugger to use their digital currencies with his credit network. So Fugger agreed to support the new effort, and the team founded a new company known as OpenCoin, with full control of what was previously known as Ripple Pay. Now, over the next years, roughly 9 million USD funding was secured. But before that, there was already a network being created, right? And only after that, there was funding raised. Yeah, so it is not true. It wasn't created, right? Though the coin, of course, there was a share given back to the company and to the founders as well, which a lot of the other projects also have this issue where the founders still keep a lot of coins, but that doesn't mean that, right? That it is, that doesn't mean that it is created by them. It is created by maps, right? And that means that they cannot create more just out of will like that, yeah? And then Ripple can print more XRP. So no. So since the XRP ledger first started in January 2013, more than 45 million ledgers have been closed successfully. The ledger was born with 100 billion XRP and is hard-coded into the software. So there are no current methods or functionality to add XRP in the code. So if for any reason new XRP code should be printed, it would require a major code change and adoption on the complete network of XRP validators. Since the ledger is decentralized, no single authority can decide to do this, as with any other decentralized blockchain, yeah? So no, okay? Next is 11. Under the Ripple business model, the misconception is that Ripple controls the network and who gets to validate transactions, making it a centralized and permissioned blockchain. So each participating node on the XRP ledger network has to trust a number of validators on the network for the consensus mechanism to work. Hence, each node has a unique node list. All nodes are free to select validators they trust, and this is key. But while the consensus mechanism requires a certain overlap of nodes to ensure consensus amongst participants, yeah? So Ripple issues a recommended unique node list. So the unique node list is recommended, and Ripple updates it periodically to include new validators, and they are well maintained and run by the industry, by Ripple themselves and the broader XRP community, yeah? But they're just recommended, yeah, but doesn't mean that they have to definitely use the one, because if you don't trust, then you don't need to use, yeah. And of all the validators on XRP ledger, Ripple company runs only about 6%. So the rest is by other people that is not under Ripple control. Yeah. So number 12 is that Ripple controls the market price of XRP. How is that possible, right? That although they hold a majority of XRP, it is a natural part of their revenue model. Yeah. So although the majority stake, large amount of XRP is not accessible to the company on regular terms. They are locked in escrow with 1 billion released every month. So it's not like, yes, they own the ownership, but this doesn't mean that they have full liberty to sell or to buy back from the market, because right, it is locked in escrow, and they have always released reports, very quarterly reports, right, to make it very transparent on how much is released, right, how much is still locked up in the escrow. So one of the most transparent company, in fact, in the crypto world. And 13th myth is that Ripple's revenue model is XRP. If the revenue model is pumping XRP and exiting, they would first have to solve the issue of pumping and dumping on the market, which is unrealistic due to selling clauses and price manipulation problematics. And also, of course, you must know that they are the owner, right? They just want it to work as well, right? And not only that, it's locked in escrow, right? So it's very hard to for them to do pump and dump. So for Ripple to successfully increase the price of XRP, they have to build products that either appear to work or sell the world a lie, or actually build products that work and let the price of XRP increase by the utility. It is a knife edge for Ripple. The only way for Ripple to succeed is by owning a large portion of XRP, is by making XRP valuable in the free market without controlling it, right? So this unique setting makes it impossible, or at least directly stupid, for Ripple to make any decisions that the market does not dictate is best for XRP. The act of escrowing 55 billion XRP left Ripple with a huge downside exposure. So by messing up the valuation, Ripple also has the most to lose. That's exactly what I mean, right? And the last one, Ripple pays companies to appear to have more customers. Now, but what they are doing, right, is actually just like what normal companies are doing, that you pay as incentive fees, right, so that you to increase your adoption, right? That is pretty common, yeah. So starting today, Ripple will offer a unique reward for financial institutions that are the first in their markets to process and promote commercial payments on RippleNet. The reward will come in the form of rebates through the new RippleNet Accelerator program. Now, this is no difference from, let's say, like Tron paying developers, right, to how do I say, to have a conversation and promote developers to develop on the Tron network. It is similar, right? So everyone is just paying people money to incentivize them to build on their platform or to use their platform in Ripple's case. So it is perfectly acceptable, right? Yeah. So of course, he ended by having a disclosure to say he holds positions in XRP and other digital assets, right? And his name is Thomas Sergey. So definitely check this article out. But the fact that it appears in Forbes, right, it's very telling sign that means they demand among the rich people for this coin, and because they still have a lot of misunderstanding, then hence there's a need for Forbes to publish an article like this to educate them, right? So yeah, I do see this, and he has about 17,000 views, and this was published on March 7th. So yes, I do see that a lot of people really wanted to understand more about Ripple and XRP. After all, this is one of those coins expected to be listed in Aries X, Nasdaq, right, and BAT, that are linked to very huge Wall Street names, right, that are coming soon. So yes, yeah, so that ought to tell you, right, the future bullishness of XRP. It is here to stay for sure, right? And yeah, this is a very good article, which I think once and clear for all, quite balanced as well, to actually demystify, right, any myths or misunderstandings people have about Ripple and XRP. Yeah, okay. Hope you enjoy, and do check out the article. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, right? And please share this around. Thank you.